Having a chainsaw with you on the trail can get you out of a lot of sticky situations. So today's video, I'm going to be mounting a chainsaw press to our 2018 Polaris RZR XP4 1000 you can see here behind me. So stick around. What's going on, adventurers? My name's Travis. Welcome back to another project. Today's video is going to be all about setting up our 2018 Polaris RZR XP4 1000 you can see here behind me to be able to carry this 18-inch Poulan Pro chainsaw. Now I have to admit, I don't often carry a chainsaw with me. Most of the trails my wife and I head off on are traveled semi-regularly at least, so you don't often run into the issue of having, a big tree falling across the trail. But getting out and exploring is what makes this sport fun. So we love taking those little side trails, the off the beaten path trails, and nothing grinds those adventures to a halt faster than a big tree across the trail. This side-by-side measures 64 inches wide, so it does fit on most ATV trails, but the problem is it's the biggest thing on those ATV trails. Even if the trails are traveled regularly, those smaller ATVs can pick their way through the trees, and sometimes the main trail is impassable with just logs and debris. So being able to carry a chainsaw with you will just prevent you from having to turn around right when the adventure's getting good. Now, I really saw the advantage of carrying a chainsaw with you this year when I was out hunting. My dad and I took this machine way back on this really narrow quad trail. I don't think it had been traveled in a couple years. There's a couple trees and big logs that had fallen down. So we were able to jump out, just cut those logs out of the way and keep going, and we got back to this really awesome place. So I really saw the value of carrying a chainsaw with you all the time. Now this Poulan Pro comes with this nice hard case, so you can just toss it in the box of the RZR, but the problem is with the 18-inch blade here, you have to throw the box in diagonally, and that takes up pretty much the entire box of the RZR. So I wanted to find a way that we could mount this chainsaw to be able to bring it along with us easily and still be able to throw our quad box in with all our straps and tow straps. So after doing some research, I came across this Kolpin chainsaw press. This chainsaw press is meant to be mounted to the back rack of an ATV, but it looks like there's a ton of different mounting options for it, so we should be able to figure out a way to mount it to our RZR. So in this video, I'll do a little unboxing of this chainsaw press, show you all the contents that come with it, then we'll jump into the install process. If you're new to the channel, we're all about projects that add adventure to your life. Anything that gets you up off the couch and out the door on your next adventure. If you haven't already, please take a second, hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate the support. And if you're finding the information in this video helpful, hit that like button. So let's jump into this install. All right, so let's open up this Kolpin chainsaw press. So opening it up here, you can see we've got our directions. And then this is the actual chainsaw press itself. So you can see it opens up. It's nicely felt lined, so it should hold the chainsaw blade fairly sturdy. And then right up here, this felt line portion, that'll hold the actual motor of the chainsaw, so all the weight will be on this portion and not on the blade itself. You can see we have all the mounting hardware here. And then this is the actual plate that you mount to your machine. So you can see all the holes here. There's tons of different mounting options. Like I said, this is meant to be mounted to the back rack of an ATV. So you can see all the mounting options. So we should be able to find a good way to mount it to our RZR. And then all these holes here, they match up to all the holes on the chainsaw press. So no matter where you mount it, you should be able to get a good angle. Now, speaking of the mounting hardware, this mounting hardware is all 1-inch for a rack on an ATV. So I had to go out and pick up a couple larger U-bolts. So these are 1 3/4-inch U-bolts. So that's the size of the rack on this XP4. So by using these, we should be able to mount it to the roll cage of our RZR. All right, so my plan for mounting this chainsaw is to mount it to the back rack here of our RZR in the box. That way it's up and out of the way, but easily accessible. So I'm hoping to mount this chainsaw something like that. So it basically parallels the roll cage here, and then it's still safely tucked in the box here, so you don't have to worry about branches scraping or ripping it off. So now the actual chainsaw press itself will have to mount the mounting plate to our roll cage here. So I'm planning on mounting this mounting plate something like this, and then having the actual chainsaw press sitting about 90 degrees to that. That way the chainsaw can run in line with the roll bar here. So what I'm going to do is roughly mount the chainsaw press to the mounting bracket. So I'll probably try and aim to have about 90 degrees here, and then we can get a good idea where to put those U-bolts. All right, so it looks like this kit comes with 3 nuts and bolts here to mount the mounting plate to the saw press. So just double check. I already mounted this once and I mounted it incorrectly. So just maybe double check, hold it up, make sure it makes sense. So we're gonna have our saw press like that. So we're gonna have our mount sitting 90 degrees there. So you just got to install the turn screw here that actually holds the saw press closed. So there's like a threaded swivel nut here, so you can just thread it in, and this is where you get the tension to hold the saw press in place here. And it comes with just an aircraft nut here to put on the end. That way you don't accidentally unscrew it all the way and have it fall off and have to try and track it down in the snow or mud. So I'll just put that even with the end there so we can still thread it out all the way. Awesome. Well, we'll go get this mounted up. So I've got the chainsaw just put into the saw press here. I'm just gonna hold it up and get an idea of where to put that mounting plate on the roll cage. So I got the plate mounted here. I had to pay attention, since it's such a large flat plate, as I was tightening down the U-bolts, it was actually starting to bend. So I had to kind of reach a compromise between not getting it too tight, but not having it so loose that it would turn. So So I hope I found a happy middle ground so this thing won't turn, but time will tell. So let's try it out and see how it works. So the saw seems to be in there fairly snug. It doesn't seem to want to move at all, and I don't think this saw is going to be going anywhere. All right, so I'll give you a bit of a different angle here. We'll just do this in real time, show you how this saw press works here. So this little thumb knob, if you undo it here, you can flip it out of the way, open it up. You can grab your saw. And then I really like this ledge here that it has. So see, you can set your saw there. It holds all the weight of your saw, so you're not having to hold the weight up above your head here. Then you can close the clamp here. There's just a little washer there. You just want to make sure you have it on the outside there. And you just snug it down. And there you go. Like, it seems to be in there pretty solid. Like, the saw doesn't want to move around at all. It looks like the actual clamp itself seems to be in place fairly well. Like, it doesn't really have any movement to it. I guess time will tell. We'll take it out on the trail, see, you know, once you start bouncing it around, if the weight of this saw is going to want to turn this saw clamp. We might have to snug down the U-bolts a little bit more, but like I said, it was starting to bend here because there's quite a bit of pressure on this plate here, so I didn't want to tighten it down too much and have this plate bending too much. You can see the plate sticks out a fair amount into the cargo box here, so maybe after a couple rides, I might come back and try and trim this plate down, but I really want to make sure this is exactly where I want to have my saw. But overall, I like the look of it. Like, you can see, it has actually a pretty decent look to it. The saw is nicely tucked away in the box here, so you can see it's tucked in this little space here. The saw blade's somewhat protected, and then looking at it from the front, you can see it's nicely tucked away. You know, if you're going down the trail and you have branches or anything like that coming down the side, you don't have to worry about your saw getting ripped off or beat up. It's tucked away there, so I really like the placement of this. So I'm pretty happy with it so far, but we'll just have to take it out on the trail and see how it holds up. So setting up this saw press was pretty easy. You can see just with a couple extra U-bolts, you can mount it to the roll cage of your RZR. Now the mounting plate has tons and tons of holes, so there's tons of mounting options here depending on where you want to carry your saw. You know, there's the horizontal bar across the back there. Ours is covered by that back mesh net, but you know, if you don't have that, that would be another good option. You know, it'd be nicely tucked away. I've also seen where people mount them when they have the tube bumpers on the front or on the back. You can mount it to that so it's out of the way. Really, you should be able to figure out a way to mount this saw press onto your machine. Overall, I'm happy with the quality of this press. It seems that the foam is pretty gentle on your actual blade itself. Everything seems to be held fairly securely. The only thing I'll have to see is if this is mounted tight enough. Like I said, I just didn't want to bend that plate anymore, but I'm sure if I snug it down a little bit more, if this starts to move on the trail, it shouldn't be any problem. Like, when you reef on it here, it just doesn't seem to want to move. So I think bouncing along the trail with the suspension on this RZR should take up the bulk of those bumps, and this chainsaw should stay exactly where I have it. So I hope this video has been helpful. You know, if you're looking to figure out a way to carry your chainsaw on your machine, this Kolpin chainsaw press is really good. It has a lot of options for mounting, so I'm pretty happy with it. I'll throw a link in the description below to this chainsaw press if you want to go check it out. I know there's a lot of options out there. I know when I was looking for one for the RZR, there was a lot of options, but it was tricky to find one that would actually work for the RZR. A lot of them were for more like a Ranger or a more utility style side by side. So I think this is a really good option if you have a RZR or a sport side by side to be able to carry your chainsaw with you on the trail. So if you found this video helpful, please take a second, hit that like button, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It's really easy to do. Just hit that little icon in the bottom right of your screen there. You can subscribe, follow along to all the cool projects we have coming down the line. If you have any questions about this chainsaw press or just anything else you've seen in this video, please post a comment below. So that's it for this project, but I hope to see you back again really soon for another adventure project.